Let's see what the decider comes up like.
My name, I'm Sebastian Russell. I live out in New York City. And there's like a big like New York scene out here playing Keyforge, and so there's another team in the COTE tournament called New York City. It's all a bunch of my buddies playing on another team, but we love Keyforge, and a lot of us met locally. On this team, Will and I met at a local game store in Manhattan, and so that's how we know each other. That's like Funky Monkey Monk. Will we met in New York, but the other player, the captain, is my brother, and so we've been playing cards for a very long time. Mostly, I think he started off in Magic, and he introduced me into cards when I was a little boy, and then he also introduced me into Keyforge when it came out. So I really have he's the one to thank for getting me into the game. And we started sloppy lab work at the beginning of Code. I think maybe Code 4 or Code 3, and we've been playing ever since. We've really been enjoying it. Oh, sure. So this deck is one of my favorites. Lemindra Lighthouse split up. Um, yeah, so Collector Lemindra, the Lighthouse Skeptic. This is one of my favorite decks. I love to play this deck in SASCAP tournaments, mainly because AOA is just very underrated. And this deck has a really nice way to increase the key cost asymmetrically throughout the match. So if you look in the Sanctum, immediately you'll see the double proclamation, which is really, really powerful. And then to complement that, it has also the Grunt Buggy and the Iron Obelisk in Brobnar. So a lot of times you can generally pump the key cost asymmetrically up to your opponents up to about 11 or 12. And so while I'm only trying to get to 6 in my race for my keys, they have to go to 11 or even higher than that, maybe sometimes even 15 can really be very punishing. And then the logo suite really kind of, I would say, set this over the edge because it has the interdimensional graph, cutthroat research, just to really punish them for going too high. And so it's got a lot of really interesting stall tactics and then punish them for going too high in amber. Oh, I did. This is going to be a very exciting matchup. I feel like it's going the first 20 cards really, or first, well, let's say first 10 or 12 cards that come out will be really indicative of how this match is going to go. For me, the things that I need to worry about would be like the brig, especially. So getting ahead in keys is going to be very important for me in this matchup. But also trying to mitigate an early Gangrenot would be is something I'm also looking for in like my starting hand. So having like a Groggins um, or Baron McGevin, something that can really put the Drummerknot like halt him in its tracks, so he can't just gain 6 amber or 5 amber right off the bat. So things way to slow down that combo, so I can set up all the tools that I need to get me to the victory. Oh, just good luck. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited to see how the match is going to go. And I wish the best. And I hope to win, but I wish the best for him.
All right, let's move to our red matchup. And again, we'll let Woody start off with the Team Sloppy Labwork deck.
Sure. So this is a really interesting AOA deck. That I looked at it a little bit beforehand, and looking at it now, there's a lot going on. We'll start with um, we can start with Brobnar because maybe there's the least going on, so I can kind of get my thoughts because it is kind of just a creature heavy Brobnar, double into the fray plus some other. I mean, Iron Obelisk. You could do some key manipulation, which actually kind of uh, helps with the uh, double proclamation in the Sanctum. I don't really have much else to say about Brobnar unless you're seeing something I don't. You're more of a Brobnar
So
player than I am.
we do have, yeah, I'm a huge Brobnar kind of nut. We do have a Grunt Buggy in a deck that has rather
Oh, I missed
large
that. Yeah,
creatures.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah.
so we're hoping to kind of lay down that Grunt Buggy in combination with the proclamations. So
Right, right. Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's always matchup dependent, but that can make a game go pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, plus some good effective power in the other houses is like that's always nice.
Mhm.
But so like in the Sanctum is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a double proclamation deck, so that could be probably really annoying if keys are going to be at +4 if you can't get stuff on the board. Um, Grey Rider, Barrister Joya, Mengavin, just kind of solid cards. Obviously free markets, which just to quickly look in this matchup isn't going to help you
Yeah, it's not
all
going to
that
help you as
much.
much. 2 Ember, 3
Right.
Ember max.
Right. But I like the Grey Rider, the Smite. Like those are always good. Blinding Light for some stunning. The Logos obviously seems to have the most going on, being a time traveler deck with Graft, Helper Bot, some archiving. Um, but I don't. Am I missing something? It's like I feel like this Logos is very good, but what is the like? What is the sort of big condition that it's trying to put the other deck in?
Sure. The way that I kind of see this deck is the condition that you want to get to is your Grumpuggy is down, your Double Proclamation is down, and keys will just cost so much that your opponent cannot overcome that. And
Mm-hmm.
your speed is actually really, really good, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm able to just spit out creatures and even just reap, if you're
Mm.
damaging my creatures, that makes your cost more because of the Iron Obelisk. If you're killing my creatures, you're probably doing board wipes, which means you're killing your own and feeding into the proclamations. So the Brobnar and the Sanctum are actually kind of the feature of this cost raising. And then
Hmm.
we've got the Help from Future Self and the Graft. We've got the Time Traveler and the Graft. So the Graft is going to keep any massive surges in check. You're going to be able to kind of just stash that away with the Titan Librarian. So I think it's a kind of secret control deck if you see what I'm saying.
Right, right. That makes sense. It's interesting though,
Yeah, I think
how
it's
this works.
yeah. I mean, in AOA in particular, Brobnar and Sanctum are going to work really nice. But I mean, we're talking about an
Mhm.
artifact first deck
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. So
Depending on the kind of game you're in though, they don't bring R.
and they
That's
didn't.
right.
Moving to my deck, S. Parker here from Coxinha. We have a Brobnar. We'll just start with the Brobnar since we're on the Brobnar train. And oh boy, do we have a good Brobnar, which is going to make putting that Grumpuggy down a real cost for
Ooh.
Collector here. We've got a Drummerknot loop, which of course is Gengar Chieftain and Drummerknot together, which will get you a nice reap if you can keep that board clear. We've got a Take That Smarty Pants against a Logos deck, which actually
Mm.
wants to keep its Logos creatures on board for those Titan Librarians. So that actually could feasibly go off, but and a Blood of the Titans to put on maybe that Drummerknot to make that loop even more kind of consistent. We've got double Binate Rupture, which could come up big here if I can get any kind of Amber advantage over you, because I'm going to need to overcome these massive hurdles Amber-wise. I've got my own Graft, which is a nice response to yours.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm moving right to the kind of matchup here, but I can't help but think about the way these would interact.
No, it's like a better version of the Logos in
Right.
the other deck a little bit.
So yeah, so we've got the Time Traveler, we've got the Graft. Like these Logoses are gonna kind of be against each other. I don't really have that kind of archiving that you have, um,
Mm.
but I do have an Archimedes, which is a nice way to kind of hopefully recycle that Time Traveler. Moving to the Mars, double Mars first is very, very underrated. Being able to use these things on turn, you're going to be able to maybe get a Harvester under Dominator and just kind of create a key
Mm.
on go here. We've got, um, yeah, I really think that the biggest thing are those two Mars first. The Stormcrawler under Kant is kind of nice to keep perhaps some reaping from happening in the long run. Um, we've got a no drone, which could come up in this in purging from the archives,
Mm.
but I can basically, stop there and say that we've got a relatively quick deck that can produce very, very good amounts of amber, right? Like, I mean, we're not talking about a rush deck per se, but it will have these kind of massive things. Like if I'm able to get to 5, I'm gonna have maybe like a Binate Rupture in hand pretty good chance on Logos. Of course, I've got the chance for explosive plays with Drummerknot, and I've got the Mars for that kind of double Mars first, in addition to the Mars needs Amber to get anything that I can manage to splash with damage. So moving to explicitly talking about this matchup, I really don't know which way to go, because I do think those artifacts are going to hurt me very, very much.
Yes, I agree.
And my main instinct is to go with the Coxinha deck, because I think that I am going to be able to win board. Even though I technically have slightly less effective power, I think that my ability to fight with this Brabnar is just so effective in this particular matchup that it's going to neutralize your Grunt Buggy to the point that you might actually have to toss it instead of playing it.
I was thinking about that too, because in this matchup, really, like the collector deck doesn't have enough big Brabnar to put it out, and to also sort of capitalize on the Iron Obelisk. Like that, you just play anyways, because if it works, it works. But yeah, they just don't have enough big creatures to deal with. Drummerknot plus Lollip plus Blood of Titans, wherever you want to put that. It's probably worth it to just pitch it and then maybe rely on the double proclamation and that kind of stuff. That might be the better way to lean. But I think I actually lean towards the S. Parker deck, because I think it's gonna dominate board. Actually, I mean the effective power is not exactly indicative of how I think it's gonna take over the game.
Yeah, I think that the ability, if your graft is already gone, my ability to brig, which is something I didn't say explicitly because this is a brig deck. It's double Binate Rupture with the interdimensional graft. If your graft is gone, you're going to be in a situation where I'm going to be able to cash in a lot and finally get my key. I think that I overcome the lock. I think I definitely overcome the lock here.
And the truth is, I mean, there's not a ton of protection. It might be tough actually for you to just keep a Logos creature on the board. To prevent the proclamations from being a pain. But it might also still be the case that you just have enough generation that you can forge at 10, as crazy as that sounds.
I might have to forge at 10 once or something, but yeah, you're right. I might go as far as putting, I don't know, a random Igor under taunt of the Dominator, just to kind of keep that from happening.
Right.
But basically, I mean, to kind of wrap up this deck, this matchup, what I see is you have kind of a control deck with a condition with the artifacts. And I think that S. Parker is kind of denying that inevitability of the control condition. To bring it back to the discussion earlier,
right?
I think there are enough ways to kind of overcome that and pressurize that and get your own stuff going. That it's going to be hard. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for Collector to achieve its control condition. Long story short.
Which means that the real result is going to be the exact opposite. Collector's going to win.
Yeah.
Put your money on Collector.
Right.
Don't hesitate.
Right.
I agree. I think I would lean towards S. Parker being the favorite in this matchup.
Sure. And enjoy the show. Thanks for watching the Final Swindle again.
Thanks.
Yep. Thanks to KOTE for having us on.
Right, and we're back. I have a puppy on my lap, so I will be slower to respond than normal. Brett, off you go.
Mulligan in the TT opening hand with Screech Bomb seems like a bit of a mistake, but does lead into a Labworks opener. But we see ST Russell with the ability to basically generate 3 Amber straight away with the Grey Rider from the Helper Bot. Labwork archives up some Brabnar, not a bad choice. No drone, but we should be able to fit archive Warp Gale there. But here we go. Igor. Pulls your goggles, very nice as well. Help with yourself gets Time Traveler. There's Graft. What would you goggle here? I'd goggle the Graft, because even if it gets destroyed, it gets put back into the archives and there's no bounce in the deck.
But what did he do? I didn't see.
He put, I believe it was a Scrapper,
Okay.
Which isn't a bad choice, I imagine. Ultimo's asking if you should show the puppy.
I will try. If he lets me, I'll show him after the game.
Archives with the no drone, Archives low, and then fights the Grey Rider. Doesn't want any Grey Rider shenanigans. There's TT back in hand for decking up. Free markets to game 2. Getting up to 5. Drops Baron. This graft is a big chain, but ST Russell with the Smith. Smith can be very big here, but there's Coward's End. Puts the Scrapper into Archive for ST Russell. Here we go. So, yeah, pulls the Scrapper, plays the Scrapper, gets rid of no drone, plays Goggins. Oh no, uses Salvahon to get rid of most of his deck, but pulls the Tyrus Crag, plays Goggins, plays Crag, plays Grumbuggy, and plays Smythe. Discards the Grumbuggy, recycles the deck very early on, but discards the Grumbuggy, ensuring the Forge for 6. Fights low up into Goggins, fights low up into Scrapper, which forces KOTE to die because there's no other enemy creatures out. Which means that this is a huge turn. And again, here we go. So the Juggler goes back. You've got to put Graft under it this time. Signal Fire and Bramble are good choices, but if you put the Graft under it, you've basically played a lot more cards. You've set up a nice Brobnar turn. But no, puts the Signal Fire underneath. Draws 3 more Logos cards, so ST Russell just racing ahead here. So we have got the Stormcaller down. Stormcaller with stun anything that reaps, and the Harvester is a huge issue because it gains 1 extra for reaping as long as there is a Mars creature next to it. If there's no Mars creature next to it, it cannot reap, cannot do anything really. Code for reaping for 6. Interesting play here to put the Igon next to the Mechanic, because if you graft here, you only graft him for 1. No, doesn't graft at all. So let's decop Forge, and let's him keep the additional Amber as well.
Surprising.
Time Travel is stunned, so the Help from yourself isn't going to be able to do any recursion. Martin's Amber does capture 1 from the one side. We see the Pip come down. We see the Forge. There we go. There's the Forge. 2 on the left. Remove stone. Remove stone. Remove stone. Fight the Stormcrawler. Fight the Pit. Fight Stormcrawler. Place the Helper Bot. Then plays Brammo, which will get rid of the Pip anyway, allowing the Reap with the Titan Guardian, the Titan Variant, and the Igor. Plays Help from Future Self. Gets to 5.
Ooh.
Pick up Ghost Logos. Alchemy's next to Time Traveler, very nice. Unfortunately, Binary Rupture, not really got anything out yet. This is why he's been holding the graft the entire time for the Binary Rupture graft answer. And there's the disconnection. So unfortunately, this was during the situation that we had on Sunday where TCO went down, and Team Coxinha were very nice to concede because they knew that there was no way that they were going to be going forward with the game. When looking at the situation in the hands, Team Coxinha admitted there was no way that they had a way of coming back to win. So they conceded and allowed Team Sloppy Labwork to take the win.
Awesome.
Very nice and absolutely amazing players for that.
And that gets it 2-1. So with that, we're going to move on to the next part of the show.